We're now more than halfway through 2025, which technically means we're closer to 2050 than we are to 2000. But now that shock's out the way, this is an opportunity for us to look at the best releases that VR has seen so far this year. Come along as we take a look at some of our favourite games that have hit the VR scene so far in 2025. We're going to start with Arkan Age from Vitruvius VR. Now this is a game that comes from a studio that has had quite a history in VR. From Shadow Legend VR to Merville's, a VR adventure, their games have generally been fairly well received, but Arkan Age is certainly the one that has got the most respect for the studio so far. This is an open world VR adventure game. It's a game that mixes exploration with detailed combat, and these are two things that work very well in VR. There's a fully implemented physics system in the game, so that the combat feels quite impactful. And of course, there's a very detailed and vibrant world for you to go explore through. Arkan Age mixes verdant, grassy landscapes with swimming sections and all sorts of different environments for you to take in your adventure. And it's available now for PSVR 2 and PCVR. Next up, we're going with one that really surprised me when I played it, Crystal Commanders. Now this is an RTS game in the classic vein of titles like Command & Conquer and StarCraft. Obviously, the landscapes aren't as detailed as those, especially when you're playing an MR. More on that in a sec. But the game does do a pretty good job at recreating the feel of commanding that army from a top-down perspective when playing VR. And building your base and your resource management and then go in and attacking the enemies. It's a super enjoyable game. When you're playing in MR, all of the little units that you have almost feel like toys, like plastic toys that are moving around in your room. And given that the game responds to verticality using coffee tables and bookshelves and so on as part of the map, it genuinely feels like you're in a little toy world, manipulating all these different resources you have and units you can build and having little fights, playing with virtual toy soldiers almost. But toy soldiers that actually move and navigate by themselves. Crystal Commanders is honestly one of the best RTS experiences that I've ever had in VR. And as a lover of RTS games, that's pretty high praise. Made by DB Creations, it's available now for MetaQuest headsets. And obviously, you can check out the review that we did up here, but you might as well just go ahead and get this one, because it's great. Next, we're going to take a look at Ghost Town. Now, this is a game that is supposed to be a puzzle adventure, but honestly, the puzzling isn't the key element here, it's the story. The story-led part of Ghost Town is second to none. You'll meet dozens of interesting characters, all with different backstories, and genuinely often amazing voice acting. You'll go through different environments that are super detailed and reminiscent of the era that the game is set in, specifically taking on parts of London and Scotland. The game was developed by Fireproof Games. It's a studio that shot to fame with the Room VR, an early game in VR that got a lot of attention. And Ghost Town is their next big hit, and it is a hit. It's super popular with the VR audience right now. The story is what pulls you through. The exploration is interesting in these, as I say, very detailed environments. The puzzling element, you can take it or leave it. It's not going to bring any new fans to puzzle adventures. But again, those characters that you meet and the story that drives you through, second to none. Now, after we've experienced some real-time strategy battles and a nice story-led adventure, what's better than a bit of gore and violence? And that's what Gorn brings. Or rather, this year, Gorn 2. Now, Gorn 2 does everything that Gorn did, but amps it up significantly. There is more bloodshed, more violence, more weapons, more enemies, more arenas, and so on. If you enjoyed the first Gorn, you'll look at Gorn 2 and think this is a brilliant new experience in that world. However, if you've never experienced a Gorn game, it is a toss-up as to which one you should go for. Gorn 2 does have a story, but it's basically forgettable. But it does have other game modes and elements to it that do make it engrossing and worthy of your time. However, if you're just looking to do the smashing and killing and having a 10-minute free-for-all every now and then, maybe the original Gorn is what you lean towards. Either way, both titles are fantastic, and Gorn 2 is probably the best gory combat simulation game of 2025 so far. Now we're going to go with a bit of a curveball. We're going to talk about Hitman, World of Assassination. Yeah, you're right, okay? We know. This game came out in 2023. But 2025 has seen it shift. A seismic shift for Hitman World of Assassination in VR. The game has received a significant PlayStation VR 2 update, which completely changed the way the game is played. Not to mention bring in actual motion controller support, which is a big deal in VR, right? This update arrived on the 27th of March 2025, and as I say, it completely changed the way you play the game, taking Hitman World of Assassination from it's alright to one of the top tier stealth action games in VR. This goes so far as to suggest that the Meta Quest version of Hitman 3 VR Reloaded, that we all wanted to be really good and just wasn't, is now just a distant memory, because there's only one real Hitman game in VR, and it's Hitman World of Assassination. Sticking with PSVR 2 for a bit, sorry Meta Quest fans, we're going to talk about the Midnight Walk. Now this is a game that looks unlike anything you've ever seen in VR. The whole game has been built using claymation models and environments, and you, as the player in this game, are led through a story-driven experience that brings these models out in immaculate detail. It's a nightmarish world that's not going to be too unfamiliar to people who are used to seeing things like Tim Burton's animated films or Box Trolls. And it actually engrosses you in this world pretty rapidly. Now, the Midnight Walk is currently only available for PSVR 2 and PCVR, which is a shame, but it's understandable given the high amount of detail that is in this visual delivery. I'm sure many people are watching this hoping for a Quest release for the game, and I am too. So maybe with a little bit of a downgrade on his visuals, we'll see something, but nothing is confirmed right now. So PSVR 2 players, PCVR players, the Midnight Walk is a definite hit. Meta Quest players, don't lose hope. We're going to wrap this up with one that is a surprise even to me. We already talked about the best RTS game of 2025 so far, and now we're going to talk about tower defense. The tower defense genre is essentially almost like a boiled down version of RTS, and it grew in popularity significantly maybe 20 years ago, and had a lot of titles competing for the throne as the best tower defense game. In VR, there is now only one game we should consider, and that is the Smurfs Flower Defense. Yeah, you heard that right. The Smurfs Flower Defense. This game shocked me. It's a really comprehensive and thoroughly enjoyable take on the tower defense genre, built specifically for VR, and it works super well. Not only will you be managing resources to build your towers and have to activate them in specific orders in order to take down enemy units, but also you'll be collecting those resources as enemies die, and you'll have direct impact on the way the game plays out through some of the special abilities of the Smurfs. The one we concentrated on in our review, which you can see up here, was Smurfette. When you unlock Smurfette, she then allows you to take a gun in your hand so that you can shoot enemies in real time along with the defensive structures that you've put on the map. Now this means that you'll be quickly changing between Smurfette, who allows you to fire your gun and have real-time impact on the action on the map in front of you, and switching to Brainy, who allows you to build structures. So you have to constantly manage a full screen, a full area of action, and flicking between your real-time input and your building and resource management while collecting the resources that are on the map, and also avoiding taking damage yourself, as well as the structures that you have built. The Smurfs Tower Defense is, unbelievably, one of the best games I've played in VR this year. And if you're looking for a new tower defense game that's got some cool ideas, this is one you want to go for. Now obviously we've still got some time left in 2025, so we could see other titles come in and knock some of these games from their perch, but right now, this is what we think are the best titles we have experienced in VR so far in 2025. If you've got any favourites that we didn't mention, be sure to let us know in the comments below.